Your LinkedIn profile is just as important as your CV when you're applying for jobs and trying to level up your career. My name's Mike Rubio and I'm a recruiter and a career coach, which means I spend hours every day reviewing CVs, LinkedIn profiles, proactively searching for people to fill these roles, as well as coaching clients on how to stand out when they are trying to level up their career and they're trying to stand out in a flooded applicant pool. Research has shown that you're 71% more likely to progress to a recruiter screen or an interview if you have a really well built out profile compared to not having anything at all. You could literally spend days optimizing your profile, but I want to share with you my 5 tips that I know will immediately help you have more impact, tell a more compelling career narrative with your LinkedIn profile. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing you need to change in your LinkedIn profile is your title. That's the title directly under your name. When anybody searches on LinkedIn, there's only a very limited amount of information that LinkedIn is going to share in the results section of that search. Your name, your photo, and your title are the top 3 things that are going to show up in those search results. So you need your title to be compelling, relevant, and clear. You want your title to be the thing that draws people across to click on your profile and get more information. So a few best practice tips for your LinkedIn profile. It needs to be super relevant and it needs to be clear. Don't have it too creatively ambiguous. I've seen some really interesting, some really funny titles, but if you're job searching, if you're trying to stand out, make it relevant, clear, and easy to understand. What you want to do is if you have a T-shaped skill set, so you have a certain craft and you specialize in a certain area, make sure that you specifically list where your expertise lies. For example, if you're in marketing and you work as a paid social specialist, don't just have marketing professional in your title. That is far too broad. Get specific. You can list actually quite a lot of info, quite a lot of characters in there. So break it down, list all your specialities. Another thing to consider is your industry type, as well as certain areas that will help you stand out specific to your role. That could be certifications, security clearances, could even be your passions or awards that you've won, things like that. That can go in your title section. Okay, tip number 2, and I love this one, top skills section. This is a fairly new release for LinkedIn, and as a recruiter, I love this. I think it makes it super clear for you to communicate where your top skills lie. It's a new section in your About Me section. So you've got your About Me section, you've got your blurb that you write. LinkedIn is featuring this new section called Top Skills with a little diamond icon. Looks super cute, but you can list your top 3 to 5 skills there. So definitely do this. Be very specific, but don't be too niche. So what I would try and do is the broadest, best encapsulating highlighted skills. You can pick like 50 to 100 skills on your LinkedIn profile, but in this top skills section, do what's most relevant to someone who is searching for your profile and will really help you stand out there. Okay, tip number 3 is your featured section. LinkedIn gives you a massive billboard on your profile to share what you're passionate about, where your expertise lies. So this featured section, many of you probably don't even have it set up on your profile, but it gives you a huge amount of visual space on your profile to highlight your top 3 posts. Now, you may not be a content creator, you may not be writing blogs, that is totally okay. But what I want you to think about is, how do you want people to perceive you? Where do you want people to perceive your expertise lies in, or what you're passionate about? What you want to do is create 3 posts that highlight that, add them to your featured section, and as soon as anyone jumps onto your profile, that is what's going to stand out the most. Now, these can even be things that you've shared from somebody else. You can share somebody else's blog, you can share somebody else's video or information, but ideally, if you share something that you've produced, that is really great way to stand out there, but it still shares what you're passionate about and what direction, how you're interacting with the market, even if you share someone else's post. So I would highly recommend add a featured section, add your top 3 posts to really color in that narrative. Okay, I know I've already talked about top skills, but tip number 4 is add in a comprehensive list of skills. This used to be extremely important. There was a whole system of endorsing skills, and that is still around. But in my opinion, I wouldn't waste my time trying to seek endorsements from people to endorse me on certain skills, or going around and endorsing everyone else, so hopefully they'll come back to mine. Really, your skills section, the big skills section that I'm talking about, 50 to 100 skills you can add, is all about search engine optimization. What you want to do is you want to have the right skills listed in your profile, so that when a recruiter like me comes and I go into recruiter search, I can actually use skills as a search term, and I can get very specific about the kind of skills I want the candidates that I'm looking for to have. And I will search sometimes purely based off that skill. I'm not looking at title, I'm not looking at any other search criteria, purely skills. So you want to definitely make sure that is up to date. If you're in an industry where things change and adapt fairly quickly, then make sure you've got the relevant skills that showcase that you're staying up to date, that you're learning, that you're growing, that you're using new technologies, new software, all of that kind of stuff. Okay, final tip number 5 is your work history section. This is where I really love LinkedIn so much, because as a recruiter, I can come to your LinkedIn profile and spend 10 seconds and get a quick snapshot of who you are, what you're all about. But then if I'm really interested in finding out more, under your work experience section, you can actually add, I think it's like 2,000 characters. So if you've created a really brilliant CV and it's beautiful, you've got impact dot points that talk all about the actions you took, the impact you have, the data that kind of quantifies the impact that you had. If you've got these points in your CV, you can put them in your LinkedIn profile under the work experience section too. And the great thing about LinkedIn is the way they have their user interface set up. It's not going to clutter your profile. It's not going to make it too hard to skim your profile. It's going to hide all of that info. Unless someone wants to see more, they can expand that and see that. So you can add as much context, as much text as you want to under each one of your work history points. This is a really great way to have a public CV, I guess, or a public profile sharing about the work and the impact that you've done. Obviously, if there's any kind of confidential information in your CV, you can't put that there, so you might need to tweak some things, change some things, but I highly recommend add the context about the impact you had in your roles into your LinkedIn profile. There's a few other really cool things here. You can add rich media. So if you've got a link on your company website to a project that you were a part of, you can link that under that work history. So again, it creates a really colorful profile, a colorful career narrative to the journey that you've been on, to the story that you're trying to tell. So I highly recommend doing things like that. If you've been a part of any marketing collateral, employee branding work for your company, add that in there. Rich media really helps your profile stand out. Okay, again, so that's it. That's my top 5 tips. Again, this assumes that you've already set up your basic profile with things like your photo, your work experience. So make sure you do the basics first in your profile and then come to this section and implement those top 5 tips that I've shared. If you have anything else that you think is crucial in helping you stand out, then drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear, especially if you're in recruitment or talent acquisition and there's something that you love to see, let us all know. But I really hope that this has helped you. I'm sure that this will help you stand out and level up your career. But good luck, you've got this.